Welcome back to the Myth Series in Depth. Today I'll be showing you the mission The Road North. Here is the journal for this mission.
Monday, June 15th, the edge of the Dire Marsh. The Legion has come 250 miles in little more than 2 weeks, not returning west to safety, but headed north toward the melted cities of the Trow and Balor's fortress. Back in Forest Heart, Ulrich convinced our officers that the West was lost, that our small force could contribute nothing to the hopeless battles that would soon be fought around Madrigal, Willow, and Tandem. These cities would fall, he said, and all their people would die whether we sacrificed ourselves or not. Then he told us what we could do instead. Ulrich was interrogated by Balor during his captivity, and he learned by chance that Balor had bound each of the fallen to himself to ensure their obedience to his will. The fallen draw their power through these links, and were Balor to be killed, they would all be powerless. The armies of the dark would collapse. So Balor must fall. But today we are only at the edge of the Dire Marsh, nearly 500 miles from his fortress, with the Watcher waiting in ambush ahead and Soul Blighter shadowing us from behind. We have a long road before us. A few men and I are leaving the main column in a few moments to discover the fate of a scouting party which has not returned. None of us expect to find them alive, but we must recover an artifact carried by their leader, Griulman, Lieutenant of Archers.
The last mission that followed the Legion before we got diverted by the adventures of Balin and his fellow dwarves was the Smiths of Mirthamni, where the Legion had escaped the Tane. The journal says that the dwarves escaped the Tane after 2 days, so if we tack 2 days onto the Forest Heart mission, that means that they would have escaped the Tane on May 21st. The journal for this mission is on June 15th, so the journal entry would have been about 3.5 weeks later. The journal for this mission says they went 250 miles in a little more than 2 weeks. We can either speculate that the Legion took a short break trying to figure out what to do, or the 250 miles doesn't include the whole trip after escaping the Tane to the edge of the Dire Marsh. It says that Ulrich convinced the officers the West was lost, so it would make sense that they spent a week trying to figure out what they should do next. Ulrich tells the officers that the West would be lost in a matter of time and they should go after the leveler Balor. I mentioned before that Balor had bent the Fallen to his will. He had to do this, for example, to keep the Watcher and the Deceiver from going at each other's throats. In the end, he wasn't able to control them as the Watcher defeated the Deceiver. Ulrich luckily learns that the Fallen Lord's magical powers are strengthened by the Leveler himself. On a typical first playthrough, you wouldn't have known what the Leveler is, as it is not common knowledge, and the journal narrator has no clue about what a Leveler is at this point. Ulrich, however, does know about the Leveler. He probably figures, what do we got to lose if we go after Balor if we are already destined for the beginning of a dark cycle? Every cycle, the Leveler is destined to rise and bring destruction to the light. If you were Ulrich and knew about this pattern, you would say, hey, let's take a chance and change destiny and kill this stupid Leveler. I think that Ulrich is making a very wise strategic move here. With the civil war going on in the province, it would be a hopeless battle against both the Fallen and those converted by the Head. This would be a recipe for disaster. At the same token, this doesn't mean that going north after Balor isn't going to be a long shot either. Balor resides in the north in Trow territory, so the Legion has some rough time ahead of them. The odds are definitely stacked against us. There is a journal image on the disc that doesn't appear in the game that shows a thrall breaking through a door in a house with a mother and her baby hiding from it. They are hiding behind a short wall of some sort. On the top right, you can see through what I am assuming is a window of the home. Through the window, you can see some thrall and other dark forces breaking into other homes. The thrall by the door looks like it has some massive boots on, and this is probably because his limbs have worn away and there is almost nothing left besides the bones. The journal mentions that the Legion is still 500 miles away from Balor's fortress. His fortress is in Rhiannon. We have a long trip ahead of us, with the Watcher setting ambushes ahead of us and Soulblighter chasing us from the rear. Here is a cutscene for the mission demonstrating the ambushes that are being set. The cutscene shows Thrall being buried under the ground. Notice that each time the video cuts to the shovel and back, there is one last Thrall. The units doing the digging in the cutscene are Myrmidons. Notice the red cloth covering their legs that matches their appearance in the game. The Thrall they are burying do not have these. The journal tells us that was a scouting party led by the Firbolg lieutenant who died, and it is our mission to recover an artifact he was carrying. Time for the mission. One of the Legion's hero archers has been ambushed and killed somewhere in the north. Follow the trail of blood to his magic bow and return to where you started with it. Alright, here we are. We get 3 Firbolg and 5 warriors in this mission.
We're moving.
So there's these random trails of blood, and it actually is random. So where the blood trail is and where it leads you will vary each time you play the mission. I think there's like 4 or 5 preset spots it could be. So you just kind of keep following this, and then at any moment some Thrall can come out of the ground and attack you. So you see what I do, what I'm doing here is I'm keeping my warriors around. So see this, they come out. So when I set my warriors at one of the Thralls, so my Firbolg can kind of run around him and escape without getting hit. Except for one of them did get hit, but that's alright. Seems like this Thrall really isn't attacking. He really wants to go after the Firbolg. So my warriors took almost no hits because the Thrall want to kill your Firbolg. That's just the way they are programmed. Sometimes you'll get some soulless coming from behind you. They're up here, kind of at this, it's kind of like a long elevated area. You can get up here from over here, but it's really a dead end. There's really nothing up there, so you can go up there if you want, I suppose. Alright, so it looks like we're going this way. Sometimes it can lead you this way. There's multiple ways you can go. We see there's some arrows and some blood. So the scouting party, maybe there was some Thrall chasing them and these are arrows, they hit the Thrall, or maybe that is their blood. I don't know. Actually, did it? That makes me think about that. Did that say follow the trail of blood of his magic bow? So it's not necessarily his blood. Alright. An interesting thing about this mission is that like the bow you find has nothing else to do with the story, right? You never talk about the bow again after this mission. This is the only time we hear about this bow. So I think like lore wise, the only thing just the objective in this mission really doesn't have much to do with the game, like story wise. You could say that it adds to the environment of the game or the story, or not the story, but like the lore in the game. You could say that. But on top of that, like the mission where you have an ambushes being set for you with Thrall under the ground. That's definitely, you know, the journal definitely talked about that. That's the Watcher. You know, he was leaving ambushes for us. So then I just kind of run away from my Firbolg. You see, and they barely even touch the warriors. So that's how that goes. Where is this leaving me? Over here. Oh, there it is. It's leaving me up there. So some of these guys, Thrall won't come out of the ground until your Firbolg go close by. So my recommendation is to always keep your 4 warriors like right next to your furbolg, like I have been doing. They still will get hit, so these thrall aren't responding. But if I put my warriors near them, they will.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Now there's a trap here, so if I go pick up this bow with the furbolg, then a bunch of thrall will come out of the ground. And then a bunch of new units will enter the map. So right now there really hasn't been much on here. So,
Yes, sir.
oh, and sometimes they come out like that. I'm not sure what triggers them.
All right.
So we want to run and grab this, hurry up and grab this bow. We're going to put them to stop shooting.
All right.
So you see, we want to hurry up and get this bow, because this bow has lightning. Well, if you look at the bow, it looks like you just see the front of the bow. You can't, if you turn it, you can't see the back. So it almost just looks like a pole, but I think that's just like the front of the bow. Like that's kind of like the handle area. But you see, as soon as we grab this, we got thrall in the front and thrall in the back. So we want to send our furbolg in real quick and grab this so that we can get out of this hairy situation, not get surrounded.
On the way.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now that we have this, let's get these warriors out of the way.
Ready. All right.
We got this lightning attack with a special key, and it just absolutely wrecks them.
Sir.
You get 15 charges, so I used 1.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Sir.
So, but there are, so we can easily just run back. I would recommend running back where you came from.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you could run back the exact same way you came, there won't be like a bunch of thrall coming out of the ground.
Yes, sir.
Or at least you're reducing your chances. So, but basically, you got the bow. Now there's a bunch of fallen or dark forces that
Yes, sir.
have come out of the ground and are trying to ambush you. And we got to run with the bow from them.
Got it.
But it's actually really easy now that we have the bow. Like I said, the bow doesn't have much to do with the like anything else to do with the story in this game. It doesn't mean that they couldn't have used it like in the war somewhere, but in this game,
Yes, sir.
it doesn't really come into use. So
Got it. Yes, sir. Got it. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, sir. Got it. We're moving.
yeah, just keep running away.
Yes, sir.
So we will probably. Oh, I forgot.
We're moving.
I didn't realize these guys show up. So there are some. Yeah, we can run away and hit them with lightning. Let's do that.
Got it.
Yeah, I didn't test out every route.
Ready?
The other route I tested
Sir?
didn't have this, but that's alright.
Okay.
So we'll shoot someone kind of in the back so we don't
Step aside.
accidentally
All right. All right. Right away.
don't accidentally
All right.
hit our own troops.
On the way. All right.
Let's
right
just
away.
deal with these guys real quick.
All right.
You might be tempted to save,
Yes?
you
All
know, bullets,
Sir?
but oh, and it blew up that tree. I didn't know that you could blow up the tree. So there's some soulless and fetch around, so we want to be careful. We just got to get down here on the map, kind of like pretty much exactly where we started. The soulless and fetch tend to be around the middle of the map and like around the river. So
Yes, sir. We're moving.
if you
Yes, sir. Got it. Yes, sir.
so just keep that in mind. So if we run into them on this particular route, it's probably going to be right here.
Yes, sir.
Ready.
So I guess
Ready.
they're
All right.
deciding to
On the
pop
way.
out here.
On the way. Yes. Step aside. That was mine. Step aside.
Let's get them.
There we go. So you just kind of deal with them. If you run into some fetch, I would recommend just hammering out those lightning attacks. We're actually getting really lucky
Yes,
to
sir.
not run into them.
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, sir. We're moving.
Sir? Yes?
Like,
Got it. Yes,
like I have 10 more
Ready.
bullets,
Sir?
right? Or was
Sir?
it? I have 10 more,
Yes, sir.
so you get plenty. Also, I think they programmed it this
Yes.
way on purpose. There tends to be thrall that accumulate up here on the right when you near the end of the mission. So I think
Yes,
that's
sir.
supposed to give you like a feel like they're surrounding you, or they're all chasing you in the
Yes.
ambush. I think that was done on purpose.
Step aside.
The other thing is, if you go in the water, right, the thrall won't come out of the water to you, but if you go in the water, your units move slower. So
Yes, sir.
you have that option. You could come in here so that they can't like come out right on top of you. But anyways, that's the mission. It's a really easy one, to be honest. It's pretty simple. So Archer's got most of the kills, not that surprising. The warriors are very valuable here. Use them like I did. Like they're very important to use well on this mission. The wind screen shows Furbolg creating arrows with fragments from the bones in the Watcher's arm. We will be discussing the purpose of these arrows in a couple missions, but they will be an important part of the Legion's battle against the Watcher. This Furbolg doesn't look like he is very happy about being stuck with this task. The lost screen shows Soulblighter making sacrifices from the captured Legion troops. It looks like he is doing something with a dead guy on the ground, and the next guy in line looks terrified. You can also see the soldiers in the background who were impaled on a stake. Soulblighter's flavor hints at the purpose of these sacrifices. Some believe that he is Damos, one of Connacht's lieutenants who, while campaigning in the east, learned how to indefinitely prolong his life with human sacrifices and ritual self-mutilation. Some of the stakes actually appear in the game in the mission The Watcher, which is after the next mission. The name of the bow in this mission is the Bow of Furious Incandescence. The only way you can find the name of the bow is within the take files in Myth the Fallen Lords. You will not find it in Myth 2. In fact, if you look at the bow in Loathing in the Fallen Levels plugin, it is called the Bow of Incandescence. Yes, it is actually spelled wrong. If the archer carrying the bow dies, a new archer can pick up the bow and the charges will reset as if none have been used before. This allows for maximum carnage. There are a few unused sound files in the mission.
I think he crossed the river here. Grab the bow. All right, let's get back to camp.
I don't know the scripting for this game well, but I've seen that the sound files do appear in the scripting. I do not know if it is actually possible to activate these sounds though. I have a quote from Jay Berry, who is the myth level designer for this mission. The idea I originally mostly come through at the end, tracking a wounded guy via a blood trail. The darkness of the ground made it hard, and I actually got yelled at about it by a red-green colorblind beta tester. However, I thought it was an interesting idea. Of course, once you get the magic bow, it's not too hard. Well, that's it for this mission. In the next mission across the goal, the Legion will be dealing with Soulblighter, who's chasing us from the rear.